Good news for the introverts. Introverts usually think that making connections and building relationships is something that comes more naturally for extroverts. The average extrovert probably wouldn't agree or disagree with this belief. The extrovert simply wouldn't think about it, because extroverts are often too busy being themselves to stop and analyze what they're doing. Contrary to what introverts might think, extroverts face their own challenges connecting. This topic is examined in greater detail in Chapter 3. But for now, introverts should know that they can feel completely at ease in business and social situations too, and that being introverted can be a strength. Introverts are often naturally equipped to initiate connections because they tend to be good listeners. If you are an introvert, the key is to listen to your own rhythms. Don't try to emulate your wildly gregarious colleagues. Instead, pay attention to what makes you comfortable. Do you get tired after a long night of chit-chat? It's okay to leave a function on the early side, to connect with whomever you need to, and then bow out before the shindig dies down. When you are part of a group conversation, do you prefer to listen to others and only speak up when you have something to say? Then by all means do just that. It's entirely fine. In terms of behaviors, whatever you decide feels authentic and true is what is okay. My friend Julie is an introvert and normally quite shy. When a guy she'd been dating, and really liked, invited her to dinner to meet his parents, she told me that she smilingly accepted, but inside she felt totally nauseous. "How am I going to get through this dinner?" she asked me. "What should I do?" When I answered, "What about just being yourself?" she looked at me as if I had 10 heads. Clearly, that wasn't something she felt would come naturally to her in the situation. She was worried that she might not live up to his parents' expectations, and she didn't know how to come across as the perfect girlfriend. If you feel like being quiet and waiting for someone else to start the conversation, wait. You're allowed, I said. A light went on in her eyes, as if suddenly understanding that she could give herself permission to just be herself. The next time I checked in with her, I asked how the dinner had gone. "It was actually fine," she said calmly. "We may not have become super close on the first meeting, but I didn't feel like an idiot for being shy. To be honest, it was a revelation for me. I realized that being shy is no big deal. I don't have to struggle to cover it up. I can accept myself for it and be okay in new situations, even if they're still a bit uncomfortable. When you need to fake it, make it real. Sometimes we find ourselves in situations with people we simply don't like, for whatever reasons. In non-professional settings, these situations can be straightforward to deal with, because often all you have to do is just minimize contact with that person. In business settings, though, these situations can be more of a challenge. When faced with a difficult colleague, how do you change a contentious dynamic into a productive one? For me, these challenges are often thorniest in the realm of performance appraisals. Almost as soon as I started managing direct reports in my career, I realized there would be times when I'd have to review troublesome colleagues who angered me because they were underperforming, or frustrated me because their poor social skills made it tough for everyone else to work with them. But how could I evaluate their performance in a way that would enhance the professional environment, not damage it? My first full-time job was at an accounting firm. During my second year, I was managing an auditing team that included a young guy named Kevin. And Kevin just didn't get it. The demands of the project were intense, and the time frame was tight, so it was important that everyone perform optimally. Still, at the end of each round of work, there would be numerous tasks that Kevin had messed up, and the rest of us had to put in a good amount of extra time cleaning up after him. Needless to say, this made me extremely frustrated. At the end of the audit, I had to give Kevin a performance review. I was angry about the extra work he caused for me and others, but I couldn't go into the performance review feeling bitter about him, because that would have demonstrated poor management skills and not contributed anything positive to the situation. So what did I do? After much grappling and some sleepless nights, I finally found the good. I thought extensively about the conundrum of Kevin, and realized that although he did have some deficits, if I was going to be honest, he also had some incredible strengths. He came to the office every day with a smile on his face, and he had established the best rapport of any of us with a client. If pieces of information needed to be procured, Kevin was always the first one to be able to get them. So I went into Kevin's review with both the pluses and minuses of his performance in mind, and we were able to discuss them honestly. Through this open dialogue, we realized that there were things about his current situation that didn't feel right for him either. So we devised a work plan that would keep him in the company, but get him trained in a department that was a better fit for him. We instituted the plan, and his professional life thrived. That was a powerful lesson for me. It taught me that an important part of being authentic is staying open to finding what makes others authentic as well. Despite my initial resistance and doubts, I found a way to connect with Kevin's authentic assets and strengths, and this benefited us both. Live the law. Find the good. Sometimes we're in situations where we have to deal with people we may not like. Our gut reaction may be to try hiding our true feelings, while in our minds we fume about how irritating the person in question is. The problem, of course, is that these attempts to hide our true feelings require us to be fake, and more often than not, such behaviors are completely transparent. For goodness sake, when dealing with a difficult acquaintance or colleague, don't plaster on a forced smile, or get all sugary sweet trying to hide your venom, and don't try to ignore someone who gets under your skin. Instead, find the good. Often, people who have qualities opposite from ours make us uncomfortable, and conversely, people who are too similar to us can make us flinch. Both these situations create great opportunities for appreciating ourselves and those around us. Can you find compassion and understanding for the person whose strengths might be your own weaknesses? Can you find compassion and understanding for the person who reflects things back to you about yourself that you'd rather not face? Just as importantly, in either situation, can you find compassion and understanding for yourself? With unbiased eyes, look at the person who's under your skin and find something that you can admire or appreciate. Identifying these traits will transform your experience of that person, and your conversational ease and more relaxed body language will come from an authentic place. You don't need to become best friends with a person, but you don't need to keep acting in ways that might create or exacerbate a bad situation either. When you can focus on what you truly do appreciate about other people, their likability, and yours, will naturally increase. The networking application. Being authentic is not a permission slip to be rude, obnoxious, or inappropriate. It means connecting with your true self and letting it shine through so that others can connect with you too. It means listening to your inner dialogue and internally noting your initial, unfiltered responses to things. It also means taking situations that seem daunting, uncomfortable, or just plain difficult, and finding ways to approach them with a true, engaged you. Is there a networking event you are dreading, but feel you should attend? If it's something you should, but don't have to do, delete it, and let yourself off the hook. If it is in fact imperative that you attend the event, reframe it so that you are attending it your way, converting it into something you want to do, or are happy to get to do. Think about Samuel. He reframed his predicament of dreading his employer's fundraising events by focusing on smaller groups at those events, not only setting up situations for himself that felt more natural, but also creating opportunities for real communication. Being authentic will get you where you need and want to go, and will be your path to building the most meaningful and enriching connections with others. Refresh your memory. The law of authenticity. The real you is the best you. Be your true self. The right way to be is what feels right for you, whether that's leaving an event early or staying all night, being the life of the party, or mingling in smaller groups. Do what feels authentic for you, and people will respond positively. Make the connections you want to make. The relationships you genuinely care about are the ones that will form the strongest network you can build. Do it, reframe it, or delete it. Understand your choices and adjust your attitudes to reflect your authentic self. When there are things you have to or should do, convert them into things you get to or want to do. In other words, Look for something in the situation that feels real and more acceptable to you. If there are any have-tos or shoulds that aren't imperative, delete them. You have choices. When you need to fake it, make it real. Finding the good in difficult situations or personalities allows for more productive and positive interactions.